Hi, Kristien.
Hi.
How are you?
We met the last stand junket.
There you go.
Like 2 months ago? Yeah, it was 2 months ago.
ago.
Can you just give us your name and outlet, please? Yes, Kristien Morato, HLN, Belgium.
That's crazy that you.
And go ahead and sit all the way back. Well, first of all, congratulations on the movie.
Thank you.
Well, from the beeps to the bruise, how much of a change was that?
It was a big change. I mean, each of them. I think the similarities though is each of them are master of their craft or master of who they are, and they know who they are. So to have Bruce Willis come in and give his flavor to our movie, I just sit back and let it play. You know, when Dwayne comes in, I try not to take over too much. I just let it play. When you throw Bruce and The Rock together in a scene for the first time ever on screen, you just let it play. And so that to me was something that I learned from before, and it was a great asset working with these guys.
When you say that you just let it play, do you mean that there's a lot of improvising, or just like let them do their own thing?
No, I mean sometimes there's improvising for sure. I mean they bring their personality, and it's like playing with a jazz musician. They are riffing, they're creating, and you just try to keep up and you try to create at the same time. So it's not like I'm just sitting there with the camera. I'm actually trying to create, but I got to stay on my toes and I got to be listening to what's happening in the scene. And a lot of times a great opportunity for comedy or a great opportunity for a cool action thing will happen in just the magic that happens on set that you can't predict in any other way.
How did you score him, Bruce?
How did I score his performance?
Well, how did you get him into the movie?
He and I had worked on Red, and we'd had a great experience together. And both John and I, our first choice for Joe Colton was Bruce. Because Joe Colton is supposed to represent sort of the original Joe, the thing that spawned a lot of this fantasy, and everything came from that sort of core idea of what a Joe stood for. Right. And Bruce, there's a common man about him, is even though he's the bigger life movie star, he's also a regular guy. He's a regular Joe, I guess what I'd say, actually. And so he was the perfect fit for it. And when we approached him, we discovered that he's a huge GI Joe fan. Right. So that was the easy part for us, because he was like, I love GI Joe. Like, and then, fortunately, he had a little bit of time to give us. Yeah. And, well, Bruce is the perfect Joe, but Dwayne is also the perfect roadblock. Yes. What if he wasn't in, if he said, no, I don't want to do it? Who else did you have in mind, really? Because there's not a lot of actors that we were screwed.
We didn't have anyone. I mean, literally, when we sat down and said, how do we reinvent this thing? Who could play roadblock? Who could represent everything we want to put in the tone of this movie? The biggest action figure you could imagine in real life, and it was The Rock. So luckily, Dwayne again had the time and had the passion for GI Joe. He played with him when he was a kid as well. That we all sat down and were able to move forward on taking this adventure forward. Yeah,
this movie is packed with action scenes, but there's a little bit of humor, a couple of jokes in there. Is that because there was so many action involved that you kind of had to throw that in there just to make it a little bit lighter?
I think it was always part of GI Joe. GI Joe is fun and playful. It's intense, but what the comic book had, which the cartoon didn't necessarily have, was gravity. The cartoon had a humanity to it. The cartoon had real danger to it. The cartoon played political things in funny ways, sort of in a Dr. Strangelove type of thing. So we tried to incorporate that tone into our movie. So it wasn't the cartoon. It was more of the comic book, and then we tried to ground it with real people. When you have Bruce Willis and The Rock, they really ground it as real people that you're going to feel the power of their punches. They're not playing a character, that it's who they are. Right.
Well, GI Joe, it gets reinvented by different people over and over again. How do you make it different and fresh?
I think that, again, everybody has their own vision of what G.I. Joe is. I think that's the fun part about the G.I. Joe franchise throughout time has been that anyone can interpret it the way they need to. But ultimately, the different characters, there's a variety of characters that represent different personalities of each person. And I think that that's what we really tried to focus on, that more than anything else, more than a bigger vision of like, oh, our G.I. Joe is this. We really just tried to assemble a great team, cast, and crew that could define it in a way that we couldn't even all say ourselves individually, but together we'd find this interesting, unique path.
And there's a little bit of a love story between Flint and Lady J, and in the comic books they end up getting married. Is that something we can look forward to in another G.I. Joe
Well, we
movie?
hope the audience shows up enough to get to another movie. I'm sure it would be fun to play with that romance because, you know, there's a real natural attraction that occurred between the characters, our actors, as they played these characters. And you can feel the chemistry of it, you know?
Yeah. Because you kind of planted the seed for them.
We did. You know, that's what's fun is that things come along the way, and the honest truth is I've never thought about the next movie when I'm making this movie. You know, there are things that happen along the way that after you finish the movie, you can go, oh yeah, that would be kind of a cool thing to do after it. You know, it would be a cool thing to bring the President of the United States back into this movie. But when you're making it, what's happening is very organic to what it's doing, you know, and they have a natural chemistry, so the audience could feel that, you know.
Right, well, they gave me the wrap. It was very nice meeting you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It was good to see you again.
Nice to see you.